We now move on to an app of the week. In the app of the week, I'll be talking about an app called Daily Babel, Babel. I will now summon Daily Babel. Open Daily Babel.
Daily Babel. Daily Babel. View menu button.
When you launch the app, the first thing that happens is that you're landed on the top left corner where it says View Menu. To the right of that, that's to the right edge, we have more options. Now, below there, we have the categories, and the categories include things like Word of the Day, Today in History. Let's go through those.
Word of the day, crabber, one who catches crabs. 2 of 16. Enlist, 16 items.
Below that,
Today in history, Isaac Newton receives his M.A. from Trinity College, Cambridge, July 7, 1668. 3 of 16.
below that,
Random fact, when Alexander Bell invented the telephone, he had 3 missed calls from Chuck Norris. 4 of 16.
I'm going to scroll up a little bit or scroll down a little bit, see
Showing items 3 to 6.
the last categories.
Quote of the day, no one ever went broke underestimating the taste of the American public. Mencken, Hill, 5 of 16.
Let's scroll down one more.
Famous birthday, Joseph Marie Jacquard, invented the programmable loom, July 7, 1752, 6 of 16.
One more, I think.
Showing item. National holiday, National Strawberry Sundae Day, July 7, 2021, 7 of 16.
And that is the last category. Now, if you keep scrolling, then you'll get these facts or this history or this word of the day for the other days. So in other words, if you keep scrolling, you'll get word of the day for July 5th, or July 4th, July 3rd, and on with their corresponding quote of the day or today in history, all of that. Now let's go back up to the top now and tell you a little bit more about the app and describe some of the layouts. Now, below each of those categories are 4 buttons, and these buttons include the following. The first one on the left edge corner says
Favorite Babel, switch not checked.
And then to the right of that,
Open sharing button.
Open sharing to the right.
Open image editor button.
Open image editor, and one final one.
Search Babel on web button.
Search Babel on web. Now, you would think that checking the favorite or make favorite would add this to your favorites, but it doesn't, and I wonder what's going on. Now, besides those buttons, now to the right of each of the category is something that says Babel settings. So for instance, if I touch where it talks about word of the day.
Word of the day, crabber, one who catches crabs.
If I move my finger to the right edge of the phone right there, I'm going to find something that says Daily Babel setting.
Babel settings button.
Oh, Babel setting. Tapping here.
Pop-up window, read aloud in list.
We have 2 items. The first is read aloud and the second is copy text.
Copy text.
Now, if I tap on read aloud.
Read aloud. Crabber, Daily Babel. Babel set.
So see, it cuts it off. For some reason, it starts to read and then the screen reader comes in. I think what the developer needs to do is to make it possible to have a different TTS engine read that read aloud. And I haven't figured out how to make that work. Now, let's go back to the top left now and find our view menu. In other words, when you go back to the top left corner and tap on that view menu, you could switch to each of those categories from there. So for instance, let's go back up here.
View menu, menu.
And in there you have those categories.
Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Famous birthday.
Famous birthdays.
Today in history. Quote of the day. Random facts. National holidays. Favorites.
And favorites. If I tap on favorites, we're not going to find anything in there because we haven't added anything to the favorites. And I'm going to show you how you add something to the favorites. Let's go ahead now and tap on favorites and you'll see that there will be nothing showing here.
Not checked. Daily Babel favorites. Daily Babel. Alert, no favorites at this time.
No favorites at this time. So I'm going to go back. I am now back to the main UI. And to add something to the favorites, what you want to do is first open that category. So for instance, let's say I want to add
Word of the day, crabber, one who catches crabs. 2 of 16, in list 16 items.
If I want to add word of the day to my favorites, what I need to do is tap here.
Go back button, out of list.
I tap on word of the day, and now I am on a screen that has the word of the day.
Crabber.
All right.
One who catches crabs.
Now, if I want to add it to my favorites, all I need to do is go down to the bottom and find a checkbox that says favorites, checkbox not checked. Let's take a look at that bottom part, shall we? On the left, we've got
Favorite Babel, switch not checked.
to the right of that,
Open sharing button.
and one more to the right,
Open image editor button. Search Babylon Web button.
and search Babylon Web. Now, if I want to add the word of the day to my favorites, that's what we want to do. What I need to do now is to tap that checkbox on the left that talks about favorites.
Favorite Babel, switch not checked.
Tap here.
On.
Now that I have checked it,
Favorite Babel, switch checked.
let's go back.
Daily Babel.
If I go back to the View menu found on the top left corner,
View menu button.
and then I go down and tap on Favorites, watch.
Favorites. Not checked. Daily Babel favorites. Daily Babel.
Now here I am in the favorites.
Word of the day, crabber, one who catches crabs. 1 of 2, in list 2 items. Alert, no more favorites to load. 2 of 2.
And no more favorites to load. And that's my favorites right there. Now, if I want to take this out of my favorites, if I want to take out that word of the day out of my favorites, what I need to do though is do this. Now I go back to the main menu. We cannot undo the favorites from here. In other words, we cannot undo the favorites from where I went and took us to the favorites. We went back to the main UI where we have the categories. And now I want to go uncheck or undo that favorites. I will now tap on word of the day from the main category UI.
Word of the day, crabber, one who catches crabs. 2 of 16, in list 16 items.
Tap here.
Go back button. One who catches crabber.
And now at the bottom, I'm going to find that checkbox that is checked for the favorites, and I will tap that to uncheck it.
Favorite Babel, switch checked.
Tap.
Off.
And I have taken it off my favorites.
Daily.
Now, if I go back to the View menu and go down and tap on Favorites, I would be told that I don't have any favorites. Let's go ahead now, tap on that View menu found on the top left corner and go tap on Favorites.
View menu, menu.
Now I'll go down and tap on Favorites.
Favorites. Not checked. Daily Babel favorites. Daily Babel.
And here's what I'll be told.
Alert, no favorites at this time.
No favorites at this time. And that's because I have taken it off. The last thing we want to take a look at is that more options that was found on the top right corner. Let's go ahead now and take a look at that and see what that does.
View more options button.
And that will be the View More options.
View more options. Pop-up window. Settings in list.
When I tap on that, we have settings,
Suggestions.
suggestions, and those are the two items. Let's go now to the settings.
Settings.
Tap here, and here are the items that we find in the settings.
Enable text-to-speech. Switch on. Enable text-to-speech.
And that's the part that should have been able to read that for me, and that's I've enabled the text-to-speech. Next.
Enable notifications. Switch off. Enable notifications. Backup/restore. Change log. Settings.
And that will be your daily babble, Babel.